Chapter 34. The last day of school means one thing: Dairy Queen. It's our tradition with Dad. I get a Reese's peanut butter cup blizzard, Malia gets a cookie dough blizzard, and Dad gets a chocolate dip cone. It's crowded. Other families had the same idea, but we find an empty bench in the shade. Your mom told me about the room in the basement that you're fixing up, Dad says. She told you? I ask. Yeah, Dad says. You're surprised? I shrug. I thought you weren't talking that much anymore. You're not talking to Mommy? Malia asks. We're still talking, Dad says. We're still married, and we plan to stay that way. That makes Malia smile. Then why are you still living at Uncle Spencer's house? I want to ask, but don't. Now isn't the time. Can you take me somewhere after we finish our ice cream? I ask. It's for the room. Where? The thrift store. Sure. After ice cream, Dad takes us to the same thrift store where I saw the piano over a month ago. I'm surprised to see that it's still for sale when I walk in. But this time, I ignore the piano and walk to the back corner of the store. I'm looking for something that I remember seeing the last time I was here. Something for the new hideout. When I finally spot it, I'm relieved. It's still here. I'm so happy nobody bought it. The sticker says it's $40. Dad helps me pick up the box and carry it to the register. Don't forget to bargain, Dad says. You might be able to get it for $30 instead. Okay, I say. At the register is an older man reading a newspaper. He puts it down when he sees us. I'd like to buy this, please, I say. $40, he says, glancing at the tag. How about 30? I ask him. The man narrows his eyes at me. 38. 35, I counteroffer. Fine, he says, and rings it up on the register. I smile at Dad, who winks at me. I hand over $35, and Dad helps me carry it to the car. Is that for our room? Malia asks as Dad loads up the box into the trunk. No, it's for the basement room I'm fixing up. The one with the spiders? Yep. Malia shudders. After Mom gets home from work, Dad stays with Malia for a little longer so Mom and I can go down to the room in the basement. I want to figure out what furniture we should keep before Carlos schedules a donation company to come by for the rest. When I turn the light on in the room, I start to second guess myself. It needs a lot of work. It's so dirty down here. I was kidding with Malia before about the spiders, but there probably are spider webs everywhere. This room is a far cry from the kind of space the old other kids and Nora would want to hang out in. Why did I think I could make this room into something nice? But then Mom says, this space has a ton of potential. She has the biggest smile on her face, and it's like her HGTV loving dreams are coming true. You honestly think we can make this work? I ask. Once we clear everything out and clean the floors, you'll see. We'll add fresh paint to these walls. It'll look good as new. For now, let's decide what furniture we should keep and what we should let Carlos give away. Let me take a before picture first. I stand in the doorway and snap a picture of the room in all its cluttered, dusty glory. Mom sees the expression on my face as I'm reviewing the photo I took. It's gonna look great by the time we're done. Don't worry. On Thursday, Mom goes to work as usual and Dad comes over. He stays in our apartment with Malia while I meet Elena, Miles, and Oliver in the basement. Carlos also comes by to help. The donation place can't pick up the furniture until next week, he says. But in the meantime, we can move it into the hallway. Together, we move everything out. All that's left when we're done is a black couch, coffee table, 2 side tables, a folding table and chairs, plus a couple of lamps. It all looks kind of boring since it's all old lobby furniture, but it's more than we ever had in the original hideout. We just have to make it our own. Mom says we can sand down and repaint the side tables a fun color. We can add a colorful throw blanket to the couch, and the lamps will make the space much cozier than the overhead fluorescent lights. It's so cool that we'll have an actual couch now, Elena says. I still like the beanbag chairs, though, Oliver says. We should bring those in here. Definitely, I say. The beanbag chairs come with a lot of memories, like when I wrote those messages to Nora on the wall. when we sat on them during game night, and when I fell asleep on one of them. They're part of the hideout's history, and part of my history in this building. Hey, I was thinking, I say, we should each have a space to do our favorite things down here. Like, Oliver, we should make sure you have an area to do your art. Oliver smiles. I don't need much, just a comfy place to sit. But maybe I'll bring my drawing supplies down here. Good idea, Alina says. I could bring down my sewing machine. I'm learning how to sew so I can make my own LARP costumes and stuff. You can put it on the card table, I suggest. Yeah, and I'll store it on the bookshelf when I'm not using it. That's perfect, I turn to Miles. How about you? He shrugs. I'm just excited to come down here to hang out with you all. But I'll bring some of my favorite books too. Maybe we can start a library. The beanbag chairs are really comfy for reading, I say. Just don't fall asleep on them for too long, I laugh. What about you, Joy? Alina asks. I think about what I bought at the thrift store. If everything works out, pretty soon I'll have an exciting project to work on. I'll practice my music stuff, I say, and prepare to become the next big film composer. Sounds like a plan, Elena says. Before we can arrange the room and create our own spaces, we have to clean it from top to bottom. We spend the rest of the day de-dustifying, my term for getting rid of all the icky dust, and mopping the floors. We wipe down the baseboards and the light covers on the ceiling. Carlos lends us a ladder for that part. I end up seeing lots of spider webs, but thankfully no actual spiders. By the time Mom gets home from work, the room is cleared out and sparkling clean. The next step is to paint, but before we can do that, we have to buy all the supplies. The other kids head home while Mom takes me to the store before dinner. I want to paint one wall white, I say. It's for a surprise. Okay. What about the other walls? Mom asks. Do you have another color in mind? I'm not sure. Mom leads us to the paint department. Since the basement doesn't get as much light as upstairs, we should stick to lighter colors. As we stare at the wall of paint swatches, I try to think of what color Nora would like. I don't actually know her favorite color, but I know she loves the Mets, and their team colors are navy and orange. Orange isn't right for the space, and navy would be too dark, but a lighter blue could work. How about blue? I ask. Good choice, Mom says. Most people like blue. We look through paint swatches until we find a turquoise color called Florida Keys Blue. It'll go well with the gray tile that's already on the floor in the room. I use the rest of my dog walking money to buy a couple of gallons of blue paint, as well as a gallon of white paint, several paint rollers, and trays. We also buy supplies to repaint the side tables yellow. Mom pitches in some of her own money when I realize I don't have enough. It's a gift for all your hard work, she says. After dinner, Mom and I get to work on the side tables. Watching all those makeover shows has paid off because Mom knows exactly what to do. I turn on my movie score playlist and we sand them down, paint primer on them, and then add a coat of the yellow paint. It's really nice to work on this project together. Then, bright and early on Friday morning, Miles, Oliver, Elena, and I paint the walls. We're dressed in clothes we don't care about, and I wrap my hair in an old scarf so paint won't get in it. I bring down speakers and play upbeat music while we work. It's a lot more fun than cleaning. But by the time we're done putting up 2 coats of paint, the room looks amazing. Like so much more than a basement storage room. I also add another coat of paint to the yellow side tables. They look so cheery. When there's nothing left to paint, Carlos helps us bring over the stuff from the original hideout so we can set up the rest of the room. We hang the fabric mural on one of the blue walls and the Christmas lights across the ceiling. We place the rug on the floor, set up the card table, position the bookshelf, and find the best spot for the beanbag chairs. Mom also suggests that I take pictures of the wall the kids drew and wrote on it in the original hideout. She offers to help us frame them so we can hang them up in the new space later on. It's such a great idea. Carlos lets me in and I get some close-up shots and some from afar away. I also take some pictures of Nora's poem and our back and forth messages below it for myself. It's strange to think that no other kid will get to come down to this room anymore, but I like knowing that I got to leave my stamp on it. And now I'll have these pictures to look back on. The only thing left to do in the hideout is set up my thrift store purchase. Carlos helps me with that, and it looks exactly like I imagined. And then we're done. We're sweaty and covered in paint splatter, but we did it. We created our new hideout. It looks so good, Elena says. I already can't wait for our next game night. I can't wait to come draw down here, Oliver says. It's so much better than the old hideout, Miles says. I couldn't have done it without your help, I say. I take out my phone and snap an after photo of the room next to the before photo. The room looks completely transformed. I can't believe we pulled this off. All I need to do now is get Nora to come down to the basement for the big reveal. And I know exactly how I'm going to do it. Chapter 35. First, I go to my apartment to take a quick shower and change my clothes so Nora doesn't see paint splatter on me. Then, I take the elevator up to her floor, my nerves multiplying every second. What if this doesn't work? I take a deep breath and ring her doorbell. This is it. When Nora opens the door, she looks surprised to see me standing here. Then she sees the expression on my face. What's wrong? Nora, you have to come with me. I make my voice sound panicked. It's Tank. Something happened downstairs. I need your help. What? Now she looks worried. Oh no, what happened to Tank? Just come with me. I turn and walk to the elevator, hoping she'll trust me and follow. She yells from behind me, Dad, I'm going with Joy for a minute. Be right back. But then runs into the open elevator where I'm waiting. Is Tank hurt? What's going on? Nora asks as I press the button for the basement. She notices that and asks, Why are we going to the basement? You'll understand when we get there, is all I say, which only makes Nora look even more confused. The elevator starts moving, and I stare at the numbers going down. I hope this works, that it's enough to get Nora to forgive me. Where are you taking me? Ignoring her, I lead her into the brand new hideout. I stand to the side as Nora freezes and looks around the room, completely confused. What is all this? Where's Tank? Tank's fine, I say. He's home. I just said that to get you down here. She looks around the room at the fresh paint on the walls, the shiny tile floor covered with our rug from the hideout, the furniture, some of it familiar and some not. And then her eyes land on my surprise. A projector in the middle of the room with a big bow around it. The 4 folding chairs are behind it, and on the white painted wall across from it, it projects the phrase, a short film by Nora Ramos, coming soon. Nora looks at me like she's at a loss for words. It's for when your movie is done, I say. You can debut it down here for our friends. We can even get dressed up and create a red carpet. And of course, I'll help you with the movie score if you still want me to. You did this for me? She asks. I grin. Yep. What is this place? It's our new hideout, I say. Seriously? I nod. Carlos says we can hang out down here now since the old hideout isn't safe. I explain how Elena, Miles, Oliver, and I spent the week fixing it up. Wow. Nora walks around the room and takes it all in. What do you think? I ask. I wanted to do something nice for you because I know that I hurt you, and I'm sorry. I really, really miss you. My eyes get blurry with tears. It's amazing, she turns to me, and her eyes are a little watery too. I can't believe you did this. She goes over to the projector and drags her fingers over it. It was wrong of me to expect you to tell me all about your problems just because I told you about mine, I tell her. From now on, if you'll be my friend again, I promise I'll be there for you. But if you don't want to talk about something, we won't. Okay, Nora says. Okay, what? Nora smiles. I'll be your friend again. Really? She nods. I missed you too, and of course I still want you to help me with my film score. I go over to her and we give each other a big hug. Then I hear clapping coming from the hallway. We look toward the doorway. Standing there are my mom, Carlos, Elena, Oliver, and Miles, all smiling at us. It's great to see you two together again. Carlos says. Nora and I grin at each other. I'm going to head home, but this is your space now, Carlos says. Make sure to take care of it and keep it clean. We will, I say, we promise. Mom says she'll also see me back upstairs. When the grown-ups are gone, Elena rushes over to me and Nora and wraps her arms around us. The Fab Five is back. Group hug, Miles says, slamming us from behind. Oliver squeezes himself into the hug too. My whole body relaxes and I can't stop smiling. Thank you guys, Nora says. But you all kind of stink. We burst out laughing as we separate. We didn't want to shower and miss the surprise, Elena explains. And then we were waiting by the trash chute while Joy showed you the room. She sniffs herself and wrinkles her nose. Ew, I'm going to go shower. Let's finish this reunion tomorrow. Yeah, I'm beat, Miles says. Game night tomorrow night? Oliver asks. We agree to meet up then. Oliver, Elena, and Miles go out into the hall, and I start to follow them. Joy, wait, Nora says. Can I talk to you for a second? Sure. We wave goodbye to the others, and then I collapse onto the couch. Now that the new hideout is done, it's hitting me how tired I am. This was a lot of work. Nora sits next to me. I just want to say I'm sorry too. For not admitting I was the one who wrote that poem, I should have just told you. It's okay. I understand. I hated lying to you about it. I'm just glad we're friends again, I say. I miss being able to talk to you, especially after I lost Ziggy. I'm sorry about that, Nora says. I felt super guilty because I knew if I'd been there with you, it probably wouldn't have happened. It's in the past now, and Ziggy's safe. His vet says he'll be fine. I'm so glad. Are you feeling better about, what happened with your dad when you got your period? I ask. Nora nods. We talked about it, and he also asked if I wanted to talk to my aunt about it. So I did a video call with her, and she explained a lot to me. That helped. Good. I still miss my mom a lot. I try not to think about it, but sometimes it just hits me. It's okay to miss her, I say, and it's okay to feel sad. As soon as the words come out of my mouth, I realize just how true they are, for Nora and for me too. It's okay for me to miss my house. It's okay to be sad that my family had to move. And it's also okay to let myself be happy here. Nora is quiet for a few moments as she looks around the room. It's so weird that we can't go back to the other hideout anymore. So much has changed. She pauses. Should we come up with a new name for this room? Something other than the hideout? Probably should, I say, especially since we don't have to hide in here anymore. Do you have any ideas? The hangout, she suggests. Fabulous Five's Fortress, I ask. The cave? Maybe we should sleep on it and ask the others. Nora laughs. Yeah. Then I ask, do you think we'll walk dogs again? I don't know, Nora says. I still want to save up for my camera. Oh, speaking of, I finished my script and sent it to Miss Francis. She's going to email me her comments sometime this summer. That's amazing. I can't wait to read it. Nora grins. Even if Joyful Dog Walkers doesn't open up again, I'm glad we did it. Me too. I lean over to hug her. All right, Nora says. That's enough cheesiness for one night. I laugh. There's no such thing. It's time for both of us to go home. As we wait for the elevator, I give Nora the full recap of how we found Ziggy in the old hideout. Wow, it's like a scene from a movie, she says. I wish I'd been there. When we get to my floor and say goodbye, I think about the last wish I made. That everything would get back to the way it was before I messed everything up. It didn't exactly come true because things aren't like they were before. They're actually better. Chapter 36. Dad comes over the next morning, and at first it's like old times. He makes pancakes, eggs, bacon, and then he sits between me and Malia on the couch as we watch cartoons. I'm still tired from all the work I did on the hideout this week, but it's a good kind of tired. But then Dad turns off the TV, and Mom comes into the room to sit with us. That's when I realized Dad didn't only come to make breakfast and hang out with us. We're having another family meeting. Oh no. We want to talk to you about something, Mom says. Wait, I interrupt, terrified of what she'll say. Dad already moved out. So what could come next? Divorce? I stand up. You can't get divorced. I know you're having problems, but you can't. We've already lost our house and gone through so many changes. You need to stay together. I collapse into the armchair and put my face in my hands. What? Mom and Dad say at the same time. You're getting divorced? Malia asks, her voice trembling. No, Dad says. I look up at them. Dad has his arm around Malia. Honey, we're not getting divorced, Mom tells me. You're not? I ask. No, Dad says. We're seeing a great counselor right now. She's helping us work things out. But why haven't you moved back in? I ask Dad. Dad glances at Mom and then back at me. I'm going to, soon. We didn't want to keep fighting in front of you, so I decided to stay at Spencer's until we finish some more counseling. But we're communicating much better now. Really? The tightness in my chest loosens. Really, Dad says. The relief makes me dizzy. I know this has been tough on both of you, Mom says, but we're here for you. That's what we wanted to talk about. Mom moves to kneel in front of me and holds my hands. I'm sorry for not realizing how much all this change affected you. I thought you were handling it all pretty well, but when you said you hide your feelings for Malia's sake, that broke my heart. You shouldn't have to do that. You can feel whatever you want and we'll help. Let us be strong ones for Malia. I nod. Yes, Dad says. If there's anything that's bothering you, you can come to us. Well, I say, there is something else that's been bothering me. What is it? Mom asks, moving to sit on the couch next to me. I really, really want to take piano lessons, I say. Like, it's been my dream. And because we don't have any extra money, I won't get to do it. That's why I was walking the dogs, to make some money myself. I thought if I could save up enough for a semester of classes and maybe buy a used keyboard, you'd let me take lessons. But then that whole plan exploded when I lost Ziggy. And then I used the money I made to fix up the new hideout, which I'm glad I did, and it was worth it. But now I'm back at square one, and I still want to learn piano. Oh, honey, Mom says, I understand. We know how much the piano means to you, and I have some good news. What good news? I ask. I was talking to one of our neighbors, Mom says. Have you met Mr. Hollins? The memory of his face when he saw me and Miles in the laundry cart fills my mind. Sort of, I say. We were in the same group when we were out looking for Ziggy, and I was telling him more about you and Malia. It turns out his wife used to teach piano. She's retired now. Okay. They still have a piano in their apartment, and Mr. Holland says you can use it to practice. I'm shocked. Really? Yes, Mom says. He said you can come by anytime after school or on the weekends. Mrs. Hollins isn't up to teaching anymore, but he thinks she'd love to hear someone practicing around her again. He's a nice man. Wow, I guess I had him all wrong. That's so nice of them. Wait, why didn't you tell me this earlier? I meant to, Mom says, but then you asked for my help with the basement, and I got caught up in that and forgot to bring it up. This is so cool, I say. Now I just need to figure out how to learn to play the piano. As for lessons, Dad says, reading my thoughts, I can help you with that. I've officially signed up to work with Spencer on his construction company, and we just booked our first big job. It'll take a while for me to make the salary I was making with my old job, but since we're living in this building now, where it's cheaper for us, I can afford your piano lessons. For real? I can't believe what I'm hearing. I also noticed how Dad said we're living here now. I hope this means he'll move back in sooner rather than later. Yes, Dad says. You deserve it. I want you to know, Mom says, we loved our house too and wish we didn't have to sell it, but we did it so you can have a better life in the long run, so we can be financially stable. I still hope to get a promotion at work, and your dad and Spencer have been working really hard on their company. You're okay with that now? I asked Mom. With Dad working with Uncle Spencer? She nods. We've been talking about this with our counselor. He and Spencer are excited about it, and it seems to be going well. I was nervous at first, but now I want to be supportive. Plus, I get to let my beard grow in again, Dad says with a laugh. He reaches over and squeezes Mom's hand, which makes my own heart squeeze. Anyway, Mom continues, hopefully in a couple years we'll be in a better place financially and we can get you your own piano. I can be patient, I say, especially with Mr. and Mrs. Hollins being so nice. That's great, Dad says. In the meantime, if you want to walk dogs again with Nora, we can talk about that. Maybe just Ziggy if May is open to it. I loved all the dogs, but he's the one I miss seeing every day the most. We'll see what May thinks when Ziggy's all healed, Mom says. You know, I still do miss the house, but this building is growing on me, I say. Especially the people. If we hadn't moved here, maybe I would have never become friends with Nora. And she's the best. Plus Miles, Oliver, and Elena. I definitely wouldn't have met May and Ziggy. Everyone here has been so supportive and nice. We're lucky, Mom says. I still hate how thin the walls are, I say. Me too, Mom says, but we're working around it. And I wish our apartment had a view of the park instead of the street. Maybe one day, Dad says. I'm just glad you two aren't getting divorced, I say with a big exhale. Me too, Malia says. Nah, your dad says. Dad says, your mom is stuck with me forever. Mom smiles at him. To me and Malia, she says, and you're stuck with us. We love you girls so much. She pulls me over to the couch so all four of us are sitting together. Mom and Dad wrap their arms around both of us. And then it hits me, like a puzzle coming together in my mind. I was so upset when Carlos closed the old hideout, just like when we had to leave my old house and move to this building. It's hard to leave a place that means so much, that's filled with happy memories. But in the end, it's not the room that matters. We have the new hideout now, but what makes it great isn't that it's bigger and can fit a couch. It's the people. It's Nora and Elena, Oliver and Miles. It's the fact that we can be together again. And that's true for this apartment building too. I still miss our house and the memories here, but what made it feel like home were my parents and sister. As I sit on this couch with them, knowing how much my parents care about me and still care about each other, this is home. That night, I head down to the basement for our game night. I can't wait to see my friends and hang out in our new space. I'm also excited because I came up with a new hideout name. It's perfect, and I can't wait to share it with the others. Home base. Because that's what the room is now. That's what and it's what the five of us will be for each other. Home base.